You're building the empire,
and we'll help you protect it.
because even the most powerful women
Still have trust issues.
love. We're going to talk about the business of love today. Welcome back to Trust Issues. Today we're talking about the business of love in our continuing series of Securing the Bag. When romance and revenue mix, building, breakup, and boundaries in business. We wrote that down.
Yes, it's a whole lot of bees.
With your boo.
With your boo.
With your boo.
Yes.
Welcome back to Trust Issues. I am your host, Erica Hall, the financial lady. Erica Hall Wealth Advisors is the name of the firm that you need on your team. And I'm here with my co-host.
Yes, attorney Urenia Ricks-Johnson from Ricks & Associates, PLLC. Yes, I am the financial attorney.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Financial estate planning, all of those things. Business.
Yeah. So we
attorney.
came up with, that's
Yes.
why Trust Issues is so great, because this is where money meets mindset
Yes.
and power meets protection.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're helping you to secure the bag and to protect the bag.
Right? You building it. Yeah, you do all
Yes.
that work to build it, and don't make the crazy mistakes. So today we're digging in to what happens when love and business collide. From LLCs to LOVs.
Ooh, yes.
LOVE.
LOVE,
Yes,
LLC, LOVE.
What could go wrong?
They should be together, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's
I
talk
mean,
about it.
You know, sometimes that's what happens. You work with someone so long, or you find someone that, hey, I like this person's mindset, and seems like we can do some business together. Or we, pillow talk, and you come up with some great ideas,
we
and
have
you
some
decide
love talk,
to, yeah.
And then we have some business talk, and we try to figure out if we can make the two merge together, right?
We got a lot going on today. So how about we got these letters that have been coming in. I've been reading some great ones, but how about you? You got something to
Yeah, I
share?
got some good stuff. Let me see. I think I got a letter on business of love. What do you think? Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about it. Okay. My fiance and I started a beauty brand together. So
beauty.
love and beauty, right?
Yes.
I handle social media and fulfillment. He took care of products and shipping.
Okay.
We never signed a contract. Okay.
All right. That's
Just
the problem right
verbal agreements. Now that we broke it up, okay, no more love. Love don't live here anymore. Right?
You
He
are
changed-
better than me. Yeah.
Love don't. He changed the passwords and locked me out of everything, including the bank account.
Oh no.
What are my rights? Does she
Well, he
have any
can't do
rights? What do
that.
you think?
He can't do that.
What do you think?
Well, he can't do that.
What do you mean he can't do it?
Can he? He can't do that.
If he got the passwords, and was it a joint account?
Listen,
Was
I
she
think
ever
about
on the
that
account?
too. Right. She says, wait. What did she say that? Okay, they had accounts together, right?
No,
He
she
locked
never
her
said
out?
that. Now
Oh.
that he's changed the password and locked me out of everything, including the bank account. So she never said if it was a joint account or if it's just a business account.
Oh, he
So how do
changed the
you-
password?
How do you get into the account if you're not on the account?
Well, first of all, if you weren't on the account and all you had was the username and password, then that's a problem right there.
And you handle social media and fulfillment. Does that entitle you to a partnership or a vested interest in the business? What do you think?
Well, if this is a business that you all started together, outside of the there not being these agreements, there is an understanding that you feel like you're entitled to everything that the business does. So let's get into it, because couples build things together all the time. And but forget to protect themselves from each other.
Yes.
From
and
each
the argument
other.
could be that you were just a social media person and you just helped out with the business, and that you not entitled to anything if you don't have an agreement in place.
That's not what we said.
Okay, but
We
we'll
said
prove it.
we said that it was my idea. Right?
Okay, all right.
It was my idea. He don't know nothing about beauty.
Okay,
Right?
But prove it.
So yeah, that's the burden of proof, right?
Yes, the burden of proof. So if you're in, she wants to know what rights does she have. The rights will be based on the relationship. If you never had a signed contract, the court looks at the common practice or common business relationship that took place. So from the standpoint of emails, how many hours worked, or what were you doing in connection to the business, does that entitle you to a salary, or does it entitle you to a business ownership within the business?
Yeah.
Because she's saying that he locked her out of everything and that now they're broken up. But the fact that these were verbal agreements, this was something that now you're leaving up to the court to decide on what this dynamic was from the beginning.
Okay, and I've been spending enough time with you to know that we shouldn't be leaving it up to the court.
Okay,
to decide.
Does the court want to decide this?
The court doesn't want to decide. What happens? They want you to have. So what should she have done? What should I
wants a guide. If you do have to go to court, the court would like a guide from you.
Yeah.
So a guide from you would be an operating agreement. If you connected with someone and you have the rules of engagement or the rules of operating, it's within the operating agreement, and it has all the what ifs.
Yeah.
What if we break up? How are things going to be dissolved?
How do we get out?
How are things going to be? How we got in and how we're operating and how we get out. That's what the operating agreement has.
Yeah.
How we got in, what we contributed to get in.
Who are the members?
The members, who's all in, and how do we add more people in,
right,
or not add them in, right?
Yeah.
And also how we're operating. That's what it means with the operating agreement.
Whose role, who
doing
does social
what,
media, who's doing product procurement,
and guess what? Based on that, who gets what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who gets, does that entitle you to 10% of the business, or does that entitle you to 50% of the business?
Yeah. Yeah. It needs to be laid out.
It needs to be laid out. And you have those tough conversations where you're thinking, well, this was a whole lot. And he's thinking like that wasn't nothing at all.
Right. Yeah, because social media is big time
some people. To some people. And then other people, it's just like, well, you weren't doing the big thing. I was shipping out the items. I was running here and there, fulfilling the orders. We wouldn't make no money unless I fulfilled the orders, right?
Right. And I'm saying, people wouldn't have found you unless they saw you on IG. It was all those posts. It was, I got 10,000 hits or 10,000 followers, making a case. But when it comes to looking at it, even from the financial perspective, I remember when I've entered into business agreements and I'm ready to do the financial stuff, not only does the bank want to see the operating agreement,
yes,
my accountant wants to see the operating agreement, so they know how to set things up financially, how to do those tax statements based on those percentages, and who's going to have access to the account. If you have operators or in the agreement that says that these people have to sign off on financial transactions, then they have to be on the account.
Yes. If you're doing a transaction over a certain amount,
like
you said, or if it's a transaction that binds the business, who signs off on that?
Yeah.
Can they just go out and enter into contracts with the business without the other members knowing?
Yeah.
Could he have went out and did something connected to buying certain things?
Yeah.
And you not know
you in the contract and you weren't even aware. That's so important because there are so many things that comes with running a business, handling business, and not just the agreements, but the day-to-day operation, even the hustle. Who's putting in all of that sweat equity?
That's true.
That matters. Oh my goodness. Because we're going to talk about that and we'll talk about this in a later episode. But I am so big on the hustle, on the sweat equity, because if you're putting in all these hours working for someone else, that's different from what you have to put in for your own business.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
You may look at someone else who's running the business and it look like they just have all this free time, but you don't know what they put in to get that business off the
What
ground.
was the foundation?
Yeah, the financial paperwork, the filing with the state and legal and all that kind of stuff and licensing and all of that. That's all of that work that takes place behind the scenes. All of that spelled out in those operating agreements.
All in there, and that is the rules for your business. And that's why I said that if you go into the court without that guide, without that information, they don't know what the parties intended. So then it would be, if you had that agreement, it would be more of, okay, we're not saying disputes don't happen, but then there is a guide for the court to go by to say this is what is meant and this is what was not meant. So then that way it can be divided appropriately. But when you don't have those agreements in place, it goes into reasonableness and the court tries to figure out exactly what the intent of the parties was.
So at what stage of me starting my business should I get that operating agreement?
At the beginning.
With me and my boyfriend, and my boo.
At the beginning. Because when you establish an LLC, I always advise my clients, you need to have an operating agreement right at the beginning.
Like, what's the order? We got the name.
The
tax ID.
The EIN. Operating agreement is next.
We file that, then we file with the state.
No, so the state should be before. Your state should be
with
before.
The name.
To establish the name, and then you have your EIN.
Okay.
Then you need to get into the operating agreement because I would say the operating agreement is even before you open up a bank account because you know the operating agreement goes into who's contributing what initially for your capital contribution.
Yes, your initial capital contribution. What you bring it to the table.
What you bring it to the
what
table.
What kind of skin you got in the game.
Yeah. So it outlines that in there. And then the thing about it is sometimes it can be people think, well, we haven't decided on all those things, but that's what that operating agreement is so important because it outlines those and it goes into all the what ifs. So then that way you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, operating agreement is really, really important. They even help to structure when you get a little more sophisticated where you can have insurance policies on one another
connected,
based on
like
key man policy.
Like
how do you buy the partner out if the partner were to have a disability or were to pass away, and you can have those insurance policies in place, and you have to insure the business.
And then going back to the fact of your relationship, and we talked about this before with the girlfriend-boyfriend relationship type of thing. Now you've entered into this business relationship, and if you don't have a estate plan and you don't have an operating agreement, you really don't have anything to bind anything to this relationship.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking?
What?
I know you don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking that maybe, if we considered the business of relationships, we wouldn't enter into them so easily.
Yes.
Right? You're right.
Because it's business. Yeah.
Because it's a whole lot that goes into it. And it's not just about the emotional. Right?
And you got to be able to talk about all the what ifs and things like that and have those hard conversations. And I think a lot of times when we're talking about the business of love, sometimes it's just like that whole lovey-dovey things where you don't want to talk about certain things. Things like that. But we have to make that normal. Like, okay, we need to have these tough conversations because what you don't want to do is get in and, like we were talking about before, assuming things. You don't want to assume that, okay, I know he's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
I know that he is going to do right by me. I know that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
I can't just assume that. I got to say, okay, well, let's talk about this. Okay, I'm doing this social media things. I'm doing this. What am I to the business? What am I?
This sounds like a marriage.
Yeah. So what am I?
This sounds like a marriage. I say that because the weight that you give what you do may not be the same weight that your partner gives what you do, right? What you do may not carry as much value to the bottom line or what have you. And so, I think it's definitely, it behooves you to have that conversation up front because you have... you've assigned a value to what you do, and you have this idea of where you see it going, and what you're able to do. So I think that you eliminate the assumptions, and you're actually able to see what you're worth.
Exactly. And I think that we have to understand also the dynamic of men and women. Men and women think about things differently from their perspective, you know, of the relationship, from business. You know, women are oftentimes thinking of what can I do to help to enhance this? You know, men are thinking about bottom line. We got to make money. We got to do these. A lot of times that's the dynamic sometimes, you know, and I'm not going to say all the time, but I'm saying sometimes coming in there, you're thinking, I'm adding value. I'm doing these things, but, you know, the man may be thinking, well, hey, this is just bottom line. We gotta do this. We gotta hustle. We gotta do this. We gotta fill the orders. We gotta do this. And you're thinking like, okay, we gotta do this. We gotta put the business out there. We gotta do this. I gotta help you do this.
Right.
But what is that value to my help with that?
Yeah. And then you may have so typically opposites attract, you know, when it comes to business or relationships. So you have someone who is the visionary, who is focused on the vision. This is where I see it going, but they don't know how to execute.
Right. And they need somebody
They need someone who knows how to execute. And so you may be a complement to one another. But again, that's when you assign the what each person's role or the value of it, or what that worth is. To the bottom line. Right. And I think that's so important, because even as a business owner myself, I'm the visionary. I execute.
We all love it, right?
I execute, and I'm looking at the bottom line.
Right.
Bottom line me.
Right.
My background is in marketing and in PR, and so that's always a help. So I do give weight to that. I probably allocate a little more than I should in my budget, my operating budget. But those are things that that you should be discussing.
Right.
What's important. And who's going to fulfill that role, because some of those things may have to be outsourced. If that's not your area or your forte. So I think that when it comes to this business of love, it's an ever evolving.
It's ever evolving, ever
if you
moving.
Want to grow.
And then you gotta, like I said, have those conversations, but then not be afraid to, if this part is not working, or if I'm shifting in my relationship, or if I'm shifting if I see these things are happening, or I see the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have something to fall back on as far as an agreement, something that we have. Well, okay, this may not be working out, but aside from that, this is what we agreed to. So I know what I got coming.
Yeah. I'm going to throw this in there.
Okay.
And what if, I'm being funny, what if he want to bring another person into the relationship? Into the relationship.
Okay.
I couldn't even get it out. I couldn't get it out. Okay.
Okay.
You know, what if he want to bring someone, or what if, you want to add someone else into the relationship, into the business? Yeah. Into the business. Let's go.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go with that. Business. Yeah. And it would really help to expand our market or what we're doing. This is something that we really need. Who makes those decisions? Does everybody have a voting?
A lot of times, and then I always tell people too, when you have a business like this within a relationship, I would say that you always need to have three members. So you need to have somebody else that's neutral. That's a part of this, to help to break the tie, to help to do all of those things.
Yeah.
But somebody that's neutral. Not somebody that you bring it in, but somebody that you all have both agreed upon from the beginning.
From the beginning?
From the beginning. That's what I'm saying.
From the beginning of this business operating agreement, we have a third person.
A neutral party.
This
that just pretty much
attorney.
breaks it. Pretty much, yeah. The attorney, the attorney, financial advisor, someone that breaks the tie when it comes to that. If the parties cannot agree, we go through some type of arbitration mediation, but it's some informal where you bring it to your you're trusted. That's all. That's in your agreement. I put them in agreements all the time.
Okay.
When you have a third party outside of You don't necessarily have to do the attorney or anything like that, but
Right.
you can. That would be good.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it, but just a third party trusted person that breaks that, because when you have two, you can always be deadlocked.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to have something in the agreement to say, okay, if we cannot agree to move forward, we don't want this business to necessarily be over, right?
Yeah.
So we want to bring it to a independent third party, and then that independent third party breaks that tie.
Yeah. Okay. So things go off the rails. I'm just unhappy. Okay, we're gonna. Who owns the name? Who owns? We got this great name. Who owns the content? Who walks away with that?
Agreement. All that's in the operating agreement. But if you have to decide it in court, you're leaving it up to the court to decide.
Yeah. So
it's almost like a divorce situation where you gotta divide the property.
It's just
you gotta divide the property at this point. So who are you moving forward? Am I moving forward with the business, or am I not moving forward with the business? But I just don't want you to have it.
This is when I can't. I'm still trying to get someone to convince me otherwise. I met this retired judge.
Okay.
Sidebar.
Okay.
I met this retired judge, and she was on her third marriage. She was in her mid-70s.
Okay.
And sister girl told me, she said, "Oh yes, honey, the first one was for love. The second one was for business. And this third one, well, it's for companionship." And I entered into this one with everything that I learned from the first two laid out for the understanding. Yes. And as I thought about it, this was years ago, but that conversation never left my mind in how I even enter business conversations, agreement, or what have you, whether they're for short, long, or whatever it may be. Because it's not about how much I love you, because love waxes and wanes. And you got to come up with all these other things that you learn on how to remain intentional about loving the person that you're with. And I'm still talking about business. I'm not.
You have to make a decision to love. You have to make a decision to love.
You have to be intentional. But that was some good advice. And not to mention, like I said, she was a judge, right? She had been sitting in that court room listening to the different sides and having to make those decisions. And so when we talk about our expectations, I think it behooves us to think ahead, to think about those what ifs, and have those difficult conversations. How to talk biz with Bae.
Yeah, how to talk business with Bae. And then the thing about it is, if you really feel like this person is really for you, the conversation, even though it's hard, you think about it from the perspective when you're entering into a relationship that, of course, let me go here, that God intended, right?
Yeah.
Okay? The relationship is based on the fact of the two becoming one. So if that's the case, I'm looking out for you, you're looking out for me, right?
Yeah,
so if that's the case, then I shouldn't have a problem with the fact of, if this is a contract that says that this looks out for you, I shouldn't have a problem with that, just on the guise of, if we're becoming one, then I want you to be looked after, because I know that in turn, you're looking after me.
Yeah.
Right?
That's definitely in the
that's ideally how it's supposed to go. So with that being said, if you are not having that conversation, or if that conversation is difficult, then you have to think about, why are you entering into this?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Right? You got to think about, are we on the same page with entering into this?
It with will not be the ease that you'll be able to exit.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So again, I keep seeing the need for an advisor. You go
Right.
to marriage counseling.
Don't you? Right before.
You got a marriage counselor who will help you think about some of the things that, of course, you have not considered, especially if you haven't been married before, and if this is your second time, somebody messed up.
Right. So you got to think about what I could do differently.
Yeah,
right.
what can you consider? You want to enter into it with all seriousness. You want to enter into it with your eyes wide open and considering things that you have no idea because you haven't experienced it,
Right.
or you avoid it because it's difficult. It's hard,
It's
or
hard.
or that'll never happen. That'll never happen. So when you think about business counseling, is that something that you would describe yourself?
Yes, I would say business
Yeah.
counseling and once again, I'm just keep coming back to the Bible where it talks about counting up the costs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Oh,
So
definitely.
even when you're entering into a business relationship,
What is it going to
counting up the cost of what is it.
Consider.
Consider, right? Consider, is this relationship, am I going to let this relationship be over with this business?
Yeah.
Or will we be able to agree to disagree and move forward?
Yes.
Those are things that going over the what ifs and talking about those things, you can count up those costs and say, well, you know what? Maybe I don't want to enter into a business relationship because the personal relationship, I don't want anything to affect the personal relationship. And that's fair.
Yeah, it is.
That's fair. Because you counted up the costs. Right.
You've decided that it's not worth it losing the relationship.
Correct.
Good.
Correct. And so, but those things that you need to have those tough conversations, like, I don't want to do business because I don't think that it's going to be worth, if the what ifs happen, that we'll be able to recover, and my relationship with you means more than this business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you talk about a marriage relationship, it has to be that contract where you think about all the what ifs, but bottom line, we gonna stay together.
Yeah. Yeah, you
right?
grow, you gotta work through them. You may have to go back to counseling.
Right. And think about what it's gonna be for us to stay together. If people thought about it like that from that perspective, then they could really make that decision to say, okay, there is no divorce. You see what I'm saying? There is
divorce is not an option.
It is till death do us part. And you make a decision. And I know from being married, you make a decision every day to love this person.
Intentional.
Every day. You have to be intentional.
You
have to be intentional about making that relationship matter, making that relationship count, and having those tough conversations, even when you don't want to talk about something.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You'll be so happy that you did. You are protecting yourself. You're protecting your business partner. So we want to hear your story. We want you to let us know, are you building a brand with your boo, with your bae, or have you done it and it blew up in your face? Tell us all the goods. Give us the deets. Spill the tea.
Spill it.
You can submit it anonymously. You can submit it anonymously on Reddit. You can find us on Trust Issues Pod on Reddit, or you can look us up, EU Trust Issues on IG.
There you go.
Yep.
And Facebook too.
Facebook, we're on all platforms. We want to hear your story. We want to make sure that you know how to be protected.
Yes.
Listen, I know some of you are out there doing some great things. You are building some empires, and we want to help you protect what you're building.
Yes.
So hit us up as we are talking about the business of love. I think attorney Urenia Ricks-Johnson has given us some really good insight as to why we want to have those tough conversations in the beginning, why we want to make sure we have an advisor who can help walk us through some of the things that we may not even consider, but it'll be in writing.
Yes.
Thank God we don't have to write our own contracts.
Yes. You have trusted
my goodness.
people to help you with that,
goodness.
right?
Yes.
That's legally sound.
Yes. And those are the documents that you need to set up your financial pieces. Once you have the business in place, you can separate your business and your personal with those accounts. Make sure that your accountant is looking for your operating agreement.
Yes.
The bank is looking for your operating. These documents protect you.
They protect you.
Yes. Perfect.
They're so important, and we are so intentional about making sure you have have those documents, so then that way you can look at that guide. Okay, things are going south. Let me look this up. Even if I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Let's look back and say, hey, this is what we agreed to. Okay, so we're not abiding by this. I have a strong case.
Yeah.
You know, or I can, at this point, maybe I can reason with this person and say, hey, you know, this is what we agreed to. I know we're not necessarily, we're trying to, you know, dissolve this. Let's do this the right way. Let's do it based on what we agreed at the beginning.
Definitely. Because life change, things change. Love is beautiful. Love is love, but business.
It's business.
It's business.
Right.
Yes, yes. Well, listen, we're going to get out of here. This has been another installment of Trust Issues.
Yes.
We know that you may have some trust issues. We know that you may have, so make sure you share them with us. I am Erica Hall, the financial lady.
And Urenia Ricks-Johnson, your attorney.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.